Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the new album from Shinedown, released on July 1st, 2022, and it is called Planet Zero. I'm pretty sure it's another concept album, just like their last one was, and my first exposure to Shinedown was from this game, right here. They had their song Fly From the Inside in it, and it's a great song, hits the spot. This whole game soundtrack is like the best one ever, in my factual opinion. And there was also a bunch of their albums on CD that my mom and dad had. At one point, I went to the public library where they have, books, CDs, DVDs, and I checked out a copy of their album, The Sound of Madness. And then, one of the songs on that album went on to be my class song when I graduated high school in 2016. Second Chance, I think that's the most popular song as well. But anyways, let's get to talking about this one. Track 1 is 2184 or 2184. It's an intro and it kind of sounds like some Hans Zimmer shit, I guess. Track 2 is No Sleep Tonight, and it's a great fast-paced metal way to open up the album with some beautiful guitar accompaniment. The drums go hog wild and the vocals cannot be mistaken as they work in a Shinedown-esque type of chorus. It's intended to be futuristic, this album. And this is more like riot music, so it has to be a preamble of sorts. The second song on this album is Planet Zero. It's the title track, and it was the lead single, of course. It's menacing, with a nice stomp to it. And still early on, it hints that this other planet isn't lifelike. It is very much dictated with a lot of rules. It's an expression of real-life culture to connect with their fan base, and is mildly catchy and creative. It didn't last with me, though.
Down here on Planet Zero, they swing that gavel hard.
Track 4 is Welcome, and I think this serves as an intro to Planet Zero, of being on the planet or in its idea. Because a while ago, when we actually had the song Planet Zero, it was more like an observation of what it is. Then we have track 5, Dysfunctional You, the third song on this album, and in my opinion, this is the most pivotal point of the record, where it just spells itself out and what it's going to be about. The song has a strong resemblance to I Hate Everything About You by 3 Days Grace. It's there in the rhythm and the instrumentation of the song, of course. This serves as a somber and therapeutic song, though. It's like opening up like you never could before. Like, just being in a talking circle or something. I feel like they did the same thing on Attention in one way or another. But there's attention to detail that allows this song to feel like a soft transition into a program or simulation, but it's not distracting on its own. You could listen to this song outside of the album and still have a lot to take away from it. Track 6, Dead Don't Die, is the fourth song on here, and the dad riffing and fearless lyrics aren't in my taste for like half of the song, but then the chorus rolls in and it just totally slaps. The guitar playing is up there with Tom Morello for me. It absolutely fits into the nihilistic vibe that this one has. And at one point, these cymbals, they fill in a verse and it just sounds so freaking cool. It's a good song, but I don't feel like there's a real contribution to the theme of the album, in my opinion. Track 7, Standardized Experience, is a somewhat bogus intermission, at least compared to the ones we've already had, but it does get that oblivious point across, that the computer system or whatever doesn't know what's going on with our character as we listen to the album. Track 8, American Burning, is the fifth song on here, and it has a distorted banjo cadence that is honestly badass. But aside from that, it's basically a political Sum 41 or Green Day type of song about the American dream. The bridge does come across smooth, but overall it's just a tad repetitive. I still do find the song quite enjoyable, though. Track 9, Do Not Panic, is an intro that sounds exactly like something from this album. A Thousand Suns by Linkin Park. I do recommend that. Didn't get very good reception, but I love that album. Then we go into track 10, A Symptom of Being Human, which is the 6th song on here, and it is another one of the best songs on the album. It's a ballad with crisp acoustic tone, and Brent's voice is nothing short of pure angelic greatness. The orchestration and the percussion just boost the power of the message even further, and within the album, it clarifies how you're the same person on both worlds and will get similar experiences. But IRL, it's a comforting metaphor just the same.
Sometimes I'm in a room where I don't belong, and the house is on fire and there's no alarm, and the walls are melting too. How about you?
Track 11 is Hope, the 7th song on here, and this is like a runaway campfire song of sorts, I guess. It's good, but I'm just out of it in the album's flow at this point because it does sound basic compared to the previous song, which was acoustic as well. Also, the entire bridge is legitimately a copy and paste of Brilliant from their last album. They both have like the same dang bridge. I mean, if you listen to them, the similarity, it's an uncanny resemblance. Anyhow, I do like how it picks up towards the end. It definitely saves it a bit.
Hey, have you heard? Hope's not falling away.
Track 12, A More Dystopian Future, is connected to the previous song and the next, which I do believe serves as a real eye-opening moment here. But track 13, Clueless and Dramatic, the 8th song of this album, is about hysteria of like, wow, I'm surrounded by idiots, a waking up moment for us on Planet Zero and our perspective. It does have a random reference to 45, a hit song from their debut album. I'm not sure why, but that's cool, I guess. It's just a real solid, hard rock banger, both dynamic and organic in style. Its melody is even taunt-like.
Antisocial saturation got you empty inside, like you're staring down the barrel of a 45.
Track 14, Sure Is Fun. That is the name of the song. It's a fun song, but Sure Is Fun is the name of the song. I can only try so hard, man, but it's one of their many tongue-in-cheek, passively aggressive songs and writing style. It really feels like a polite but intolerant eviction for us from Planet Zero. We have ourselves a developing plot, I guess. The drums just kick ass and are really playful, as is the guitar and how it resonates in the background. And we have all these cute and melodic moments that really fit the genre of the album.
Knocking on the door outside. Tell me what you've got to lose. We've had enough of all these pointless points of view.
Daylight is track 15. We got some daylight coming from the window right here. Hey, yay. I've heard a lot of songs like this one, not just from others, but even Shinedown in all my years of listening to them. It's good and makes a lasting impression in the melody and the awkward, corny choir chorus that it has. The message goes across well. I mean, you find out who your friends are, etc. But despite all the ballads sounding different, the dynamic really is just back and forth at this point.
You saved my life, not once but twice. You keep me free from falling.
Track 16, This Is a Warning. Sounds less futuristic and more like a 90s Wendy's tutorial video, if you know what I mean. And then track 17, The Saints of Violence and Innuendo, is the 11th song on the album. It picks up the pace and the attitude better than any of the other hard songs do on this album. And I think that might just be because the past few songs have been a little too soft, softer than my dick right now. But being a single, it can easily be applied to IRL, cancel culture, censorship, and political bias. The song's individual flow is slightly goofy, but it is intended to mock, obviously. And it does come together pretty good.
I guess we're on our own. Ain't that a big show? Tell me the truth, or tell me a lie. Tell me what I gotta say to get out of this room alive.
Track 18, Army of the Underappreciated, is the second to last song of the album, and it has a guitar tone that, even in the past couple of songs, that is so dirty, like Foo Fighters, in my opinion, which, by the way, rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins. They're an amazing drummer. But this song, it's all riled up with a gnarly solo and a wacky synthesizer in the background that's pretty cool. But it's a song that further infers the point that even here on Planet Zero, principles are all they care about. And much like on Earth, most people, they don't actually care about people. It's principles that determine everything. But it's a catchy, anarchist, punk-style jam for the ages. Oh no! Track 19 is called Delete. These transmissions begin to sound more and more anxious as the runtime goes on, which makes sense to me because we enter Planet Zero and there's all these freaking rules, and then we start to develop individual thought, so they discipline this main character, and then he's evicted, and then we're deleted from Planet Zero, which leads into track 20, What You Wanted, the 13th and final song of the album. By the way, we have 13 songs on a 20-track album. That is 7 interludes. But most of them were necessary and got a good point across for the theme, but some, they did make a good point and they weren't even necessary. But this last song is awful. It works as well as AJR, which if you've heard AJR, then you know exactly what I mean. And I get the idea that they were going for, but the execution is just ridiculous. It's so noisy and distasteful, even from a musical standpoint. You're blasted with out-of-place orchestration and a deafening kick, I might add, while the lyrical approach is simply silly. Or need I say, cringe. Ugh. I haven't used that word in a long time. But see, track 14 worked. See, track 14 was sure is fun. It's one of my favorites on the album. And it sounds very different from the rest of the album. But it fits in with the pacing and the flow. And it's not out of balance sound-wise, like this one is. This one is just stupid. It's a bad ending to the album. You could argue that it's supposed to be, because it's a bad ending for the story of the character. It's a disaster. It's a tragedy, like Shakespeare. But no. There's ways to express a bad ending without making it a bad song. Beethoven, dun 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 dun. Like, you could do that and make it sound cool, but no, they don't do that here. They make it sound goofy and stupid. But my final score for the new album by Shinedown, called Planet Zero, released on July 1st, 2022, is an 86%, which is, for me, a B-, really just based off of the grading scale of school. I did a little extra calculations, like out of 10 for each song, and if that last song wasn't even on the album, I would have given it a 91%, that's still a borderline A. It's a B+. But overall, this album, it's slightly inconsistent. Some songs didn't fit the theme. You've got a lot of interludes, and some are unnecessary. But there's still quite a few great songs on here. Definitely worth going back to. But I still got this sitting right here. I bought this one, and I don't know if I would say I would buy this one because I don't feel like it flows as well. There were some songs on here that I didn't really like. I mean, I could look at it right now. Get Up, I didn't care for. And Evolve was kind of noisy. Pyro was fun, but still noisy. And then Kill Your Conscience was kind of weird. But it's just a lot of great content and a little more consistent. But let me know how you feel about the album in the comments down below. And still my favorite album of this year is probably the one by Hailstorm. And a close second would be Ego Trip by Papa Roach, which that had some awful stuff on too. There was a big old hole on the Papa Roach album, but there was just great songs like back to back to back after that. But see you next time. That's that, and album review over.
You don't know what you're doing. You don't care who you ruin.